So welcome everyone to Angus's Mindset Hour. It's Thursday, the 8th of October. And now I had invited Michael Daniluk to join me today, but Michael isn't able to join us. So what I'm going to do is I'll be just opening up the floor to people to ask questions. Before I do that, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself and who I am and what I do. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Angus Levie, and I wear two hats. I am a trader in the morning, so I trade binary options, and I was just showing people before we started my charts, and I have a group of people who join me twice a day for trading. And then I am a hypnotherapist in the afternoons. So I work with people's minds and helping them get over issues, whatever they may be. I tend to specialize in trauma. So people who've been through particularly bad times and need to come to terms with what they've been through. It's a fascinating field where you learn how the mind operates, and the mind is actually quite simple. Some people will say it's complex. It's not really. It's simple enough, and once you understand how it affects you, you can also use that knowledge to avoid problems that maybe crop up from time to time in your life. So what I'm going to do is just open it up for the moment to the floor. And if anyone has any questions that they'd like to ask me, or even if there's a topic or subject you'd like me to talk on, please do so. Just be aware that when I get on a roll, I forget when to stop. But at any time, guys, feel free to pop in and ask a question. So feel free to open your mics, and if you want to ask me about anything about myself or about hypnotherapy or about any issues or things you'd like me to talk about. What would you like to hear me talk about?
I suppose for me, the thing that I find frustrating is when you're really motivated about something or enthusiastic about something, and then you've got people in your organization, so to speak, who kind of seem to be almost lackadaisical or not really that motivated. And I understand we're all different, but I was just wondering if there's any sort of tips you could give on maybe trying to motivate them to be more inspired, or is that basically impossible?
Yeah, you see, I know exactly what you're talking about. Believe it or not, strangely enough, I've discovered the same thing within my own organization. And, you know, we've just been through the pre-launch period, and we had a lot of people join. And we were firing a huge amount of information at them, you know, everything from team building to trading. And for a lot of people, I think it was overload. And they couldn't actually cope with the amount of information we were shoving at them. It was quite huge. I'm sure, you know, if anybody wants to make a comment, please do. There's a few people I see commenting here. Yeah, hi Steph, I see you there in the camera. But what I also discovered was there was a lot of people who joined and actually never did anything, never even opened their back office again. Now, what's that all about? Why do people pay money? Now, okay, it wasn't a huge amount at the time, but why do they pay money into something that, you know, potentially gives them financial freedom and do nothing? what is the reason behind that?
Mm.
And you know, it's different for different people. To be honest, one of the main reasons was, you know, it was Uncle Joe or Auntie Mary who was probably just cajoled into helping somebody. And honestly, Lucy, those people you just have to let go of. If they haven't even opened their back office, let them go. There's no point chasing a dead horse. Now, those people who may have initially joined, got enthusiastic, and then for whatever reason tailed away. Quite often, the reason for it is fear of rejection. Fear of rejection. Everybody fears somebody's going to say no, or somebody's going to say, oh, you haven't got involved in that pyramid scheme type of thing again, have you? Okay. And when somebody hears that, it immediately brings them down. Okay. It affects their self-confidence. And really, what I say to people when this is the reason, I say, well, who do you prefer to listen to in life? The person who is successful, or the person who has never done anything beyond their 9-to-5 job? And obviously they're going to say, well, I'd rather talk with the person who is successful. And say, exactly. And within Winner's Circle, within Epic Trading, there are hundreds of people who are successful. Now, why don't you listen to what they say and do, rather than listen to your buddy down at the pub or your workmate, who probably at the end of the day are slightly jealous of the fact that you are trying to do something to change your life. And I would encourage them then to listen to some of the wonderful audios we have, whether it's Eric Worre's GoPro or some of the other motivational stuff which helps people to build their self-confidence and their understanding about what they've got into. And one of the important things I think that most people need to also realize is that we tend to become who we hang around with. Now, Lucy, if you don't mind me using you as an example, would I be right in saying that you are not the same person you were 3 months ago?
Absolutely not. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. This being part of the Winner's Circle has had a huge change in my life.
Yeah, exactly. And can you just maybe give us a little example of where you were before? Now, you don't have to. I haven't asked for your permission before, but if you're willing to share, tell us a little bit about what life was like before and what life is like now, that you've gone through Winner's Circle and you've established and built quite a nice team, and that you have got involved and surrounded yourself with positive-minded people.
I think, well, there's been a lot of things. There's been massive changes in previous MLM companies. It was definitely my hobby rather than my business. And I think the change was probably two-pronged. The first thing was actually getting involved with Damon and Michael and seeing how motivated they were and seeing how big their goals were and seeing how big their dreams were. But then also losing my job was really probably the catalyst for me going, okay, this is no longer a hobby. This is no longer a pipe dream, or it's no longer okay to make $200 or $300 a month. That was no longer acceptable. And plus I was sick and tired, literally sick and tired of never really being successful. And I just knew that it was around the corner. I've always had that feeling that it's going to happen. And it was just sort of a perfect alignment of everything, of the perfect team, the perfect people, and I think you're 100% correct when you said the people that you surround yourself with makes a massive difference.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're a typical example of someone who's come from a position of really being, you know, at the bottom. You know, you lost your job, and you had nothing else to do. You had to do something, and you found Winner's Circle, and you saw this as something that you could identify with. You saw it as a way out of where you were. And I think, you know, if we again, what we need to do with those people who are maybe not doing a lot is try and connect with them and rekindle their dream, because they joined us for a reason and they had a dream. And maybe, you know, after getting one or two rejections or people, you know, making fun of them, they allowed their dream to be stolen. And what we need to do is reconnect them with their dream. Now, one of the things that Catherine was just saying there is she thinks that when people saw the late hours, late nights we put in, and thought, gee, if I have to do that, it's too much. I don't want to do that. Yeah, I totally understand that. But, you know, again, people can still build this business on just, you know, 1 or 2 hours a day, or even a week if necessary. I mean, I put in my first 10 people in over a weekend. And it's just a matter of applying yourself. But the biggest thing I think that we need to do, especially in these uncertain times with COVID, so many people are losing their jobs. So many people are uncertain about their future, and they're frightened, they're worried, and they don't know where to turn to. We have something within Winner's Circle and Epic Trading that is probably pretty unique, in the sense that it is COVID proof, because we can work from home. The only time I have to leave home is when I need to go and to the shop to buy food. Otherwise I can work from home. And it's also recession proof, because trading is absolutely recession proof. You can make money when things are going great, and you can make money when things are not going great. And life is a bit like our charts. You know, it goes up and down. It's never a smooth path. It doesn't just go in one direction. You have highs and lows, and we've all experienced those within the last few weeks. Highs of being able to take so many people into our businesses, then lows of being confused as to why they didn't all convert. But you know, everybody does something at their own time. And you know, I don't lose sleep over the fact that some people haven't actually converted. They're still there in the background. Unless they've actually deleted their account, they're still a prospect. They just need to be reminded of their dream. So guys, if any of you are struggling with, you know, people not getting on board, do your best to connect with them. If they're not your direct downline, speak to the person who introduced them in the first place, and invite them to a short meeting with you, or with any of us, and see if you can get them to start talking about why they originally joined, what motivated them. And remember, the biggest thing, and this is, I've said this many times before, but I'll say it again because it's worth repeating. People are not motivated by money. Just remember that. You can talk about all of them, you know, how you can earn up to $1 million a month. It doesn't affect people because they cannot relate to that. What they can relate, though, to is what money can do for them. So when you're talking to those people, try and find out what it is they want out of life, why they are looking for extra income, and then talk to them about that and try and build on that. And one of the most powerful things is to see if you can create some emotion with them about what their actual dream is. For some people, it's just being able to spend time with their children. So talk evocatively about, yeah, wouldn't it be wonderful to have that time to, be there with your kids when they wake up, and, take them to the playground, or, to the soccer match or whatever, which you would normally miss. And be able to spend that valuable time that most parents miss with their children because of work. If it's somebody who wants to travel the world, ask them, well, what countries do you want to travel to? And what do you think excites you about the idea of going to that country? And then maybe share some of your own experiences if you have any. And also then, ask them to share some of their travel experiences. And then relate it back to the fact that, wouldn't it be wonderful to be able to go to those sort of places without the worry of having to think about needing to head back home to work to pay your bills? Because you know that by building this business, you have that money coming in each week, regardless. And not only that, you can also trade, even if it's only for half an hour or an hour in the mornings or even in the afternoons. I mean, for example, when I was in Turkey, I would get up at dawn, go swimming, have a lazy breakfast until midday. And then in the afternoon, when it was too hot for me, being an Irishman, to sit out in the sun, I would be in the shade, drinking my Turkish coffee and eating my watermelon. And I would trade, or I would have, three-way calls or do presentations. Most people didn't even realize I was sitting there in my shorts and short sleeve shirt doing a presentation. But we can do that with this sort of business. So I hope that helps you, Lucy. Just reawakening people's dreams is how we get to get them enthusiastic again.
That's a great tip. Thank you. Definitely.
Right. So is there anyone else would like to ask me anything? Don't be shy. Now you can either type it into the chat or you can open your mic and talk to me.
Hello.
Hey, Catherine.
Hello. For me, Angus, it's steps or things I can do to keep a positive mindset when my personal life is swallowing me up.
Yeah.
Some of you know what's going on. And it's to not let that overwhelm me or my emotions overwhelm me that I lose a whole day where I could be trading or studying. It's to get my emotions in check.
Yeah.
Because I know I can't trade when I'm emotional and I can't get anything accomplished. And my personal life is currently swallowing me up. And it's to stay above that. So any tips for that would be good.
Yeah. Okay. I have a few tips for you. The first thing is, when things are tough. For example, Lucy mentioned about losing her job, and the first thing that happens is you start thinking about, well, how am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to pay the mortgage? How am I going to do this? How am I going to? And if that happens, will I be, will I lose my home? Will I lose this? And you end up going in this nasty little spiral of what ifs, and you keep going down and down and down and down. And it takes you into that horrible rabbit hole of depression at the end of the day. Now, first thing I would say is to recognize when you're doing that to yourself. And I've two simple words. We actually, a few weeks ago, you all may remember, I mentioned it before, that lovely skit called Stop It. And it's simply that, stop it. Don't allow yourself into that rabbit hole, okay? Stop that negative talk, turn it round, okay? Yeah, I know that it's easy for me to say, stop it. I'm not facing those. I've been through quite a few things myself. I've lost businesses. I've lost 25 years of work, literally overnight. So I know what it's like. And the funny thing is, people would come up to me after losing my company, and they would say, "Are you all right?" I'd say, "Yeah, I'm fine." And they'd be saying, "Well, that's what bothers me. Why are you so fine?" you should be a miserable person right now. And you know what I say? The past is in the past. I cannot change it. You cannot change what has happened. What you can change, though, is how you allow it to affect you. If you allow it to take you down that rabbit hole of negativity, you're going to find it almost impossible to come back up. But if you decide that, what's happened has happened, what do I do now? What do I do now to change where I am at? And you see, we're emotional beings. And it actually only takes a split second to change the way we feel from positive to negative or vice versa. Have you ever noticed how listening to a song can change your emotional state? Let's say it's a typical one would be, when you were younger, you were in love for the first time with your first, serious relationship, and you broke up, and there was a song that really spoke to you. And then every time you hear that song, you go, oh, okay. Now you may have been in a great mood driving along, and then the DJ puts on that song. Okay, so what does that tell you? It tells you that we are triggered, okay, by certain things. So I just gave you an example of a negative trigger. So what we need to find is positive triggers, things that uplift us, things that make us feel good about ourselves and who we are as individuals. So maybe there's a song that you can listen to first thing in the morning that, rather than bringing you down, will actually lift you up. Maybe there's something you like to read, a bit of poetry. Maybe there is some positive, on YouTube, there's hundreds of them, these positive motivational talks, just for a few minutes, things that give you hope for the future. And then sit down and say, okay, I'm in this position now. What do I need to do to get out of it? Now, if it's a problem with money, those of us who are involved with Winner's Circle, we have so many options. We have building a team, and we have trading. Now, if you're not an experienced trader, you can learn how to trade through the university. But you can also have your own demo account and start, taking those trades as they appear, those signals, and just practicing. And as you see them either hopefully working in your favor, that might give you hope for the future and confidence. And the other thing to do is also to start building your business. Now you may say, well, I'm not really in the right frame of mind to do that. I'm so down at the moment. I don't think I can invite anyone or talk to anyone about, their future, their business. That's fine. You don't have to. And we keep saying this, put them in front of somebody like myself or Lucy or Michael, or even Damon has given us his phone number. People who are positive, who are upbeat. And it doesn't take long to start building a business. Now again, the excuse people will give you is, but I don't know anyone. Well, we all know that's not true. If we put our minds to it, we can at least put 50 names on a piece of paper. If you open up your Facebook, how many friends do you have on it? Connect with one or two of those people. Don't talk to them about Epic or trading or anything like that. Just talk to them. Find out how they're getting on in life. Look for those trigger points that they have, those pain points. And you know what you can say? I think I might have something that will help you with that situation. I'd like you to talk to somebody about it. Would you be willing to, spend half an hour? And that's it. And you know what that does for you? That starts giving you hope as you get that person on board, and, they start to thank you for what you're doing for them. Now, not everybody will get on board because not everybody is ready or in that place where they feel they can benefit. But that's okay as well. At the end of the day, we've just got a numbers game, and we just have to fill those numbers. But going back to your point, Catherine, it's changing, recognizing when you're going down that rabbit hole, stopping it, and finding something that lifts you up instead. Okay? Whatever that may be, something that gives you a sense of joy, sense of purpose. Now, I know for you, it's helping other people, whether going on to the Winner's Circle Telegram group or into our own Winner's Wealth one, or doing some admin work or whatever. But that gives you a sense of purpose. But the important thing always is to have a sense of achievement at the end of the day. Now, if you're in a bad place financially, you need to be able to show yourself that you are actually taking steps to get yourself out of that place. Whether it's by building a team, converting somebody who is just dead within your organization, or by trading. We have so many different ways. But even if you're making only small little steps of movement, you're going to find that it's like, building blocks. It starts to expand and increase, and before you know it, you're on a flyer again. But always remembering that life puts roadblocks in our way all of the time. And if we just realize that life is a bit like, what I say to my traders is trading is a bit like a game of snakes and ladders. You find a ladder and you go, whee, up you go. And then your next throw of the dice, you hit a snake and poof, down you come. But do you know something about the game of snakes and ladders? You always eventually get to the end, do you not? You always get to the end. if you play long enough. And the same is true with life. We will always get to the end. But what you have to do is stop allowing yourself to hit those snakes that take you all the way back down. Now you can do that by just recognizing what's happening, saying, hold on a second, I see what you're doing here. And say, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. And look for that positive thing, whatever it is in your life that will motivate you to change your outlook. For everybody, it's different. I mean, for me, it's the ability to help others. And that's what has me so excited about Winner's Circle, Epic Trading. I'm all about helping other people. And that's part of the reason why I'm a hypnotherapist, because, you know, I get such, if I could afford it, I would do it for nothing, you know, because to change people's lives is the greatest reward. And what we have to realize within what we're doing is that we're not just creating something for ourselves. We're creating something for everyone who joins us. The opportunity of freedom, genuine freedom. And that's freedom from fear of lack of money, and freedom of time freedom. Most people don't have that. They work their 9 to 5. Some people have a couple of hours commute on top of it, that each side. I used to do it in my younger days. I used to drive for an hour and a half to work, do my 8 hours, drive home an hour and a half. Was too exhausted to do anything by the time I got home. Cook a meal, go to bed, get up the next morning, do the same thing. Oh, you know, that's enough to depress anyone. But what we have is different. Now, the problem most people have with what we do is that it's at the beginning, you feel like you're working for nothing. You know, you're putting in all of these hours and you just get to founder 500, you know, or you may only get to founder, and you've put in a lot of effort, a lot of work, and you think, well, this isn't worth it. I'm not going to do this for the rest of my life. But what people don't understand is that we are not in a job where we are swapping our time for money. Okay? What we are doing is putting in the time now to receive the money later. It's a bit like what I call delayed gratification. Okay? In other words, you're putting off your payday for a year. Now you're going to get a little bit in between, but in a year's time, you're going to be, let's say, at icon 10. That's 10,000 a month. Okay. I'm saying a year, but you know, we can do it in 3 months. But let's say it's a year. But in that year, you're going to have to put in the hours of that icon 100, you know, before you actually receive it. But after you get to that level, that money will continue to come in week after week, month after month, whether you do anything or not. Okay? Because why? You've worked at building up your team in that space of time. We no longer have to trade our time for money. So what you're doing is you are building now to reap the benefits later. And if you can make people understand that this isn't a business which brings in the money early. Well, it can through trading. Okay, if you get that right, you can have that money very quickly. But if you're just focusing on the building side to have that residual income, you have to help yourself to understand, be of that mindset where you're not looking to earn now. You're building your business to reap the rewards later.
I think that's a very good point, Angus, because there might be people that are getting, for want of a better word, flack or a hard time from family or friends and saying, you know, where's that money? I see all those hours and hours that you're putting in, and have you been paid? Or, you know, and you might be, as you say, made it to founder where you haven't actually got a cent yet, but it's understanding and remembering that, as you say, there's a long-term goal in mind.
Yeah, and this is the difficult thing for people who are used to having the job, the job, because they're, you know, they expect that when you put in work, you get paid for it. Okay, and this is quite different. We put in the work now to reap the huge rewards later. And you know, for some people, it can be a struggle, a real struggle. They understand, but you know, they maybe they get one or two people in, and then they cancel for whatever reason, and they feel like they're back to square one. And is it, you know, all of that work I put in, is it worthwhile? And my simple answer is yes, it is. It is always worth it, because at the end of the day, you will happen upon, and usually not just you, but possibly, more than likely, probably actually, it won't be you who finds them. It'll be somebody beneath you will introduce that wonderful person who sees what this is all about and suddenly drives it. And before you know, you've got a huge team again. Now, obviously, we need at least, the ideal is to have two of those builders in each leg, and then that will drive forward. But so many people also think that they have to do it themselves. Guys, you don't have to build this yourself. You just have to find those 3 people to get you on the first rung, okay? And then help them to do the same. And the same, and the same, okay? And again, you don't have to talk to those people. You just have to bring them along to a 3-way call or to an opportunity meeting. And let those who are confident enough to talk, to do it, if you're not confident enough. And the worst thing that people do is they try and sell the business. Never try and sell the business, because you're never going to succeed. Well, maybe that's unfair to say you're never going to succeed, but 9 times out of 10, you're not going to. Don't sell the business, sell the dream that they may have of freedom, whatever that means for them. So always, guys, in whatever you do, just talk to people about their lives. Everybody loves talking about themselves. Talk to them about their lives. Find out what motivates them. Talk about what motivates them. Get them to express it in as powerful a way as they can. And then offer them the opportunity to achieve that dream, that goal that they may have. And we really, you know, seriously, as I've said before, I've been doing this for over 35 years in multi-level marketing games and not marketing games, marketing, multi-level marketing companies. But this is actually the one that excites me the most because I don't have to sell a product. Look, I'm in others. I sell these drinks and stuff like that, you know. And, you know, if somebody's really into it, it's not a problem. But most people don't want those things. Okay. But what they do want is what we can offer them, and that is financial freedom to achieve their goals through trading, through building a business, or both. All right, we've got about a little under a quarter of an hour. I think I've covered that one. Does anyone else have any questions or any topics they'd like me to cover? Did anyone find benefit out of what I've just covered? Just give me a one in the chat if it's a yes, or open your mic up and tell me. Excellent. Okay, super. All right. You know, because sometimes it can be a bit lonely here, chatting away and wondering, am I making sense? Are people getting benefit out of what I'm saying? So it's great to hear. That's all right, iPhone. You're gonna have to put your name in your Zoom account. But yeah, no problem. I saw you joining late. But I am recording this, so hopefully you'll be able to listen back later. So anything else anyone would like me to talk about? Anything at all? Any issue you may have? Would you want to ask me any questions about myself? Maybe you're curious about hypnotherapy or hypnosis.
I'm always curious about hypnosis.
Oh, don't get me started. I'll never stop. Okay. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about hypnosis then, because it's my passion. And just to let you know how I got involved in it. When I was at school, at the age of 16, I found a book on hypnosis in the school library. And I read, and I've always been interested in the mind, you know, and how it works. And I read this book probably several times over. And then I was in boarding school, and one of my friends in the dorm challenged me one night to hypnotize him. So I said, okay. And I opened up my book and I started to read word for word. And blow me if it didn't work. He went into a hypnotic trance, and I had him doing all sorts of weird and wonderful things, seeing bunnies hopping around the place. And I can't remember. I mean, we're talking about nearly 40 years ago. I can't remember all the different sort of things I did, but all I do remember is the rush of sense of power I had. But it actually scared me at the same time. And believe it or not, I never hypnotized anyone again for maybe 30 years. You know, life happens, went to college, moved abroad, got married, came back, set up businesses, ran them for many years. But then maybe about 15 years ago, I started getting back into hypnosis again, and I started buying up a whole shelf of books on hypnosis there. That was before the internet days. And then I was talking with somebody one day, and they said to me, yeah, it scares people. I know, because you feel lack of control, and that's the reason. But I was talking to them one day, and they were in America, and it was like, I don't know, 11 o'clock my time. And I suddenly realized, I said, hold on a second, what time is it with you? And it was like 3 a.m. I said, well, you should be asleep. And they said, no, I never sleep. I said, what do you mean you never sleep? I said, I just don't sleep. I go until I literally collapse. Now this sparked something in me. I said, did something happen to you that stops you from sleeping? And they said, yeah. They said, my husband twice tried to murder me. The last time he was hiding in my closet and jumped out and literally had me by the throat. And I said, okay. So I said, I know what's happening. You go to sleep and you suddenly have these nightmares. Your friend, maybe somebody with you in your dream, morphs into your ex. I said, how did you know that? I said, because your subconscious is constantly on the alert now, looking out for how to escape these scenarios. And all it's doing is replaying different scenarios to help you. But the problem is it becomes a nightmare for you. And then you wake up and can't sleep. And it's easier for you to go until you actually collapse than go through all of those things again and again. So I actually sent them a recording designed to remove bad memories. And she came back not long after, actually, saying that was the scariest bleep, bleep, bleep I've ever listened to. And I said, look, I apologize. I should have warned you that you may actually regress through some of that. I said, let's see what happens. And the next day, they phoned me up and said, I still get emotional. They said, that was the first time in 20 years I've slept a full night. And it was that made me decide that I have to do this professionally to help people. So I went away to Amsterdam, actually, and got trained how to be a therapist. But I was there with maybe 100 other people, and people who were professionals for many years and experienced. And what I discovered was a lot of them were coming up to me during this, it was 10 days, and were actually asking me on the side to work with them. And I thought, well, that's strange. Why are they doing that? You know, I'm sort of a beginner. What I didn't realize is that they could see in me somebody who had that natural ability to have an insight into their issues. And yeah, since then I haven't looked back. And I work on those things which most people shy away from. Most people, when they think of hypnosis, what are the two things you think about? You think about stop smoking and weight loss. Those are the two most common things that people go for hypnosis for. Those are the two things I don't like doing, to be quite honest. I do them, I don't like it. But what I do actually is I work with people who've been seriously damaged. Now, I work with anyone, but seriously damaged through, like that first person, through abuse, whether mental or physical. And I get, you know, for myself, huge personal benefit from helping those people, changing their lives. You know, when you see people after a session opening their eyes, taking a big breath, and as one lady said to me, the sun is shining. Now we were in a room without windows. And that was somebody who'd gone through a lot of abuse in their childhood. And finally, I'd allowed them to let go of it. And that is, for me, the most wonderful thing. But the thing to understand also is that it's nothing to be scared of. Hypnosis is actually a, I know we're going off track, we're supposed to be talking about mindset, but it's all part of what we're talking about. Hypnosis is actually a natural state of mind. When you know, how many of you have driven home, maybe at night, you pull in and you go, I don't remember passing through the village or the traffic lights, or how did I get here? I don't remember the journey. Give me a 1 if anyone has experienced that. If you understand, often, says Catherine. Yeah, Jennifer, yeah, 1, 1, 1. Okay, so you know what that tells me? You are all perfect subjects for hypnosis. Why? Because what you were doing was allowing yourselves to go into a hypnotic state. Your conscious mind was going off thinking about life. And your subconscious said, well, somebody's better drive home. That idiot is not concentrating. And then when you pull in, suddenly your conscious mind goes, well, what happened just there? You know. Another common one is when you're reading a book. It triggers a thought, and you start thinking about whatever the book triggered, and then maybe 5 or 10 minutes later you come back and you find you're a page or 2 on in the book, and you have no recollection about reading it. You have to go all the way back again. Has that ever happened to anybody? Give me a 1 if you understand what I'm talking about. Then Di says all the time. Yeah, same as Wayne. Great. Okay, so again, what you're doing is going into a natural state of trance. Ladies who have husbands who are into sports games, how many times have you come in when they're watching the match, said, you know, do you want to drink, love? And the response is nothing, in other words. And you say again, hey, do you want a drink? They don't hear you. Why? Because they have gone into a trance state. They are focused 100% on the match. They have cut out all external stimuli apart from the match. They've gone into a trance state. So it's a normal state. Now, some of you have said how you're actually scared. Yeah, well, nothing. What did you say? Yeah, that's a common thing. Somebody said earlier on, I did it once and it scared me. I've never done it since. Okay, you know why it scared you? It scared you for probably 1 or 2 reasons. One, it actually triggered something that needed to be dealt with. Now, either the therapist wasn't experienced enough to recognize that and deal with it, or you felt you were not in control. Okay, because we all want to feel in control of ourselves. We don't feel like we ever want to lose control. But actually, with the hypnotic state, what you're doing is actually taking back control. And a skilled hypnotherapist will be able to guide you. I always say to people, I'm not doing anything for you. I'm just helping you to help yourself. And your conscious mind, that part of you that's listening to me now and deciding whether I'm full of it or not, is the problem. It interferes. It thinks it knows best, when actually it doesn't. All it is the gatekeeper to the subconscious, where everything happens. And most people don't understand that or recognize that. But our subconscious isn't in control of everything. It decides how fast our heart beats. It decides when we breathe. It decides when we blink our eyes. It decides how we're going to digest our food. It's also in control of our emotions, and has all of these little programs running around that were actually originally formatted before we were 7 years of age. Most of our beliefs and values are actually formed before we're 7. That's why, folks, it's very important to be careful what you say to children. Okay. The worst thing people can say to children is, you know, you'll never be good enough. You know, you're stupid. You're this. You're that. Because children absorb that, and it becomes their reality. It becomes their programming, and it requires a bit of work to change that programming. But with hypnosis, a skilled hypnotherapist can go in and basically rewrite those programs that were written as young people, change those negative values and beliefs into positive ones. And the other problem we have is we have conflicting values and beliefs that put us into a state of not being able to do anything, because and we end up self-sabotaging ourselves, because we've got one program saying, you know, this is good, and another one saying this is bad, and they're in conflict. So you need to find somebody who can help you get rid of that conflict, sort it out, reprogram it. Yeah, somebody's telling me that, you know, that's them. Yeah, well, find somebody who can help you. And I use very simple methods to do that. A lot of people think, you know, when I'm finished, my actual therapy is maybe only 10 minutes in an hour. The rest of the time I'm working on either getting to that state where I can help them, or we're just talking over their issues. But the actual therapy part is very quick and simple. Okay, Jennifer's saying, when entertainment hypnotists put people on stage, are they really going into trance? Yes, they are. What entertainment hypnotists, or stage hypnotists we call them, are doing is they are looking for what we call somnambulists. Now, about 1 in 10 are what we call a somnambulist, somebody who goes so deep, so quickly, that they have absolutely no recollection of what just happened. And hypnotists love these people. Why? Because the subconscious has just does not interfere at all. And we can do great work with them. And for the stage hypnotists, they can get them to use their own imagination to entertain people. And here's another little secret, guys. Your subconscious does not know the difference between imagination and reality. And that's why it is so important to spend some time each day meditating, thinking about your dream, your goals, okay? And what's happening as you're doing that is your subconscious is saying, okay, what do I need to do to make that my reality? And it starts finding ways. And suddenly things start to change. Has anybody ever experienced that, where you want something so badly in life that you're just concentrating on it all of the time, and then something happens to make that your reality, to make it happen for you? Yeah. Yeah, that's okay, Adrian. I've gone over time anyway. So don't worry about it at all. But we'll wrap up shortly, guys, because I don't like going over the hour anyway. You know, let me give you another example of how the brain operates. Let's say you've decided you're buying a car. Is there anyone who's bought a car recently? Would you like to tell me what type of car you bought recently? Either open your mic or type it in.
A year ago, Angus.
Okay, Catherine, when you decided what car you were going to buy, did you notice that you saw that particular make and model everywhere for for about a month or two before you were?
Yes, every time
Yeah,
even if you buy a secondhand car or a new car, everywhere you go, people have that, and you didn't see it before.
exactly. So this is what I'm talking about. Your subconscious is looking out for that thing you desire, and it finds them. And that's why it is so important, guys, to spend that time thinking in a positive way about what you intend to achieve and making that emotional for you. So that dream you have, that goal, whether it's Founder 5000, Ambassador, whatever it might be, start thinking about how you will feel when you achieve that goal. What do you need to do to achieve that goal? What changes do you need to make in your life to make that goal positive? And as you start thinking about those things, your subconscious is going to start working on them and making them your reality. And that probably is maybe the biggest sorry, somebody just muted me now. Whether that's a hint from somebody, I don't know.
No, it was me by mistake. Went to let somebody in, and I hit you by mistake. The
Okay,
screen jumped. Sorry about that.
It's all right. So whether I lost my train of thought there. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. So just no. I actually have. Can somebody remind me what I was talking about just a second ago? I completely forgot. Dream. Okay, yeah. So what you're doing is, if you just spend 5 to 10 minutes a day focusing on that dream, that goal, whatever it is, making it emotional, and that's the secret, making it emotional for you. Feel the emotion that you will have when you actually realize that goal. Wonderful things are going to happen in your life, wonderful changes. And as you start to see those changes start to happen in your life, I wonder what other changes are going to start to happen to make that goal your reality. Those things which used to hold you back will no longer hold you back. Those doubts, that sense of disbelief, that sense of lack of belief in yourself will suddenly start to evaporate. Why? Because that goal, that emotion that it creates within you overpowers all of the negative influences that would normally stop you from achieving your goal. So with that,
Can I comment on that, Angus?
yeah,
It was about that new vehicle. I'm 57 years old, and that was my first brand new vehicle I bought. Was last year, and a few years before it, I had bought another secondhand. I had always been a single parent, so it was always secondhand vehicles. And I kind of I was not in the position, but I told that guy, I'll be back in 2 years to get that Kia Sorento. And so it was exactly almost 2 years. And so it is by speaking it forth. And my situation like was kind of, oh, I can't really see it, but I told him I'll be back to get it. And things changed. And I got this email about this lower interest, and I was paying a hefty interest. And like, I was able to get a brand new vehicle for almost the same I was paying for my secondhand one because of the low interest. So I did get that. So when I went and got the Kia Sorento last year, I said, I'll be back in 2 years to get that Kia Telluride. So that's next year. So let's see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, one of the most important things you did for yourself there, you set a time. You gave yourself 2 years to achieve that goal. And what happened? It became your reality. You had in your imagination Kia Sorento, 2 years. And in 2 years, the Kia Sorento became yours. So guys, I want you to do the same with goal setting for this business. Where do you want to be by the end of this year? What level do you want to be at? Make a goal and then work out what you need to do to achieve it. And let's say it's ambassador. So you need 500. Now, you may be languishing on 3 or 4 or 5, or maybe you have 50, I don't know. But all of these things are possible. We've seen people in the last month or two go from 0 to ambassador. You know, so it is achievable. All you need to do, though, is to concentrate on that goal and allow your subconscious to find the ways to achieve it. And it will, I promise you. Yeah, you know, you say you might be hopeless. And again, here's, yeah, I'm already 15 minutes over, but we've got plenty of meat for the next session. But you know what? The next session I'm going to talk on negative self-talk. And what you just said there was a bit of negative self-talk. Stop that. When you catch yourself saying that, especially when it's got something to do with the business, like I'm hopeless at recruiting, what happens? Your subconscious goes, oh yeah, okay, fair enough. I'll do nothing then, because I'm hopeless at it. Okay? Start doing those positive affirmations, you know, like they do in the trading. I'm a wonderful trader. I'm a good trader. I'm a successful trader. I'm a wonderful recruiter. I'm a good recruiter. I'm a successful recruiter. And just watch what happens the next time you're talking to somebody. All right, guys, I have to finish here. Yeah, okay. If you need to message me personally on anything, please feel free to do so. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time. I really do. It was wonderful. We're going to do it again. Probably it's going to be an hour later next week at 4 p.m. UK Nigerian time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. I messed up today. I got my times wrong. My fault, mea culpa. You know, it was my fault too, Amanda, don't worry. I originally put in 11 in my original post. I corrected it a few minutes later, and you may have seen that wrong time. But it's in our winner's circle list as being Thursdays at 11, so a.m. Eastern time, which is 4 p.m. So in future, I'll be doing it at 4 p.m. Okay, thank you, everyone. I'll be posting this up in the winner's circle group and various other places as well. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Angus.
You're welcome, Steph. Take care, everyone. Good luck and God bless.
Thanks,
And see you
Angus.
next week. All right, you're welcome. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Di.
Good night.
Yeah, the call. Good night, Lucy. The call is recorded,
night.
Amanda. So I'll be putting it up in the next hour or so. All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.